Story 1. Be encouraging. Many people are discouraged. They respond to you much more pleasantly if you do not add to that. Story 2. When the weather is really bad, people cancel their appointments. Call in and ask to take their place. This works for doctors, veterinarians, opticians, and many more. Story 3. My mantra is that things are never as good or as bad as you think they will be. I am not sure if it is a life hack, but it has calmed my nerves and set reasonable expectations for me many times. Story 4. Walk. Take walks. Walk instead of driving if you can. Walk to clear your head, walk to enjoy it. It will improve your health, well-being, and everything. Just take walks. Story 5. I once read that it can take between 15 to 30 minutes for your body to tell you it is full. To avoid overeating, you should wait around that long after eating before eating more. Story 6. I take the last 20 minutes at work to write out where I am with my different projects and what needs to be done next for each one. When I get to work in the morning, I review the end-of-day note and make an ordered list of 5 things to accomplish that day. I only expect to accomplish 3 most days, but it is good to have stretch goals. Story 7. Always stay curious. It will lead to growth in all aspects of life. Read the greats. You will learn without having to burn your hand on the stove repeatedly. Story 8. Set an alarm for 1 hour before you want to go to sleep. It will remind you to start getting ready for bed. Story 9. Freeze a wet sponge in a resealable plastic bag and use it as an ice pack in your lunchbox. It stays cold for hours, and when it melts, you have a clean sponge to wipe up spills. Mind equals blown. Story 10. If you come to a fork in the road and both paths lead to the same destination, always go left. Most people are right-handed and tend to go that way naturally. When in doubt, take the road less traveled and go left. Story 11. I will live my life by the 50% rule. Everything takes 50% longer than it should, and you need to temper your expectations by 50%. Story 12. This is less a life hack, but I learned this years ago on Reddit. On some mobile keyboards, you can hold and slide your finger left or right across the spacebar to move the text cursor. Story 13. Never leave a room empty-handed, especially when going upstairs or downstairs. Look around for at least one item that belongs to the place you are going. This often means taking my drinking glass downstairs to the kitchen or my laptop upstairs to my room. Story 14. When I do not want to do something, like wake up early to work out on a cold morning, I say to myself, I do not want to, the whole time. Then I get up, get out the door, and drive just to let it out of my system. Story 15. Give yourself some grace. I think we are all very hard on ourselves when we make a mistake or are not constantly on the go. For me, if I am not working, I should be folding laundry or cooking dinner or returning a call. It has been so helpful for me to remember that it is okay to just do whatever I want sometimes. And it is okay to make mistakes, which is good because I make a lot of them. If you have Instagram, there is an account called Lenny. I tell everyone who will listen to go follow this sweet account. It features a little adorable cartoon ghost who shares short tidbits of advice that will just make you feel good. We need more of that in the world. Story 16. Unethical but legal life hack. If you own a parcel of land that is an acre or more, plant a Christmas tree farm or flower farm, and you can claim an agricultural exemption on your taxes. With a Christmas tree farm, you can also have an insurance policy, and if the trees experience an extreme drought, you can file a claim. My property taxes are essentially nothing due to the agricultural exemption. Story 17. The eat the frog method, which means doing whatever task you are dreading first to get it over with, significantly reduces day-to-day anxiety. Story 18. Drop frozen grapes into white wine instead of ice cubes. They chill the wine without watering it down, and you get a boozy snack later. Story 19. Unless someone says they are mad at you, they are not mad at you. Stop trying to shadowbox other people's reactions. Story 20. If you like to nibble and snack, break one meal into several snackable portions. Do this at least on your days off or when you are at home. Remember to keep the calorie count the same or lower, especially sugars and fats. If you do not like doing a chore that can be done in pieces like unloading the dishwasher, Do a little at a time. Every time you get up for something else, put a couple of dishes away while you are up. This method works best in one-story houses and apartments. Story 21. Put your phone in airplane mode while charging. It charges faster because it is not draining the battery with background tasks. Story 22. Drink a glass of water before you eat. Drink another immediately after you eat. This triggers the feeling of fullness without extra calories and helps keep you well hydrated, which supports energy levels. It also aids digestion. Story 23. Drinking coffee with one less pump of caramel or one less splash of cream goes a long way for your health over time. Story 24. When I finish boiling food, such as spaghetti noodles, I use a strainer, place the rounded side inside the pot, and drain it from there. Story 25. This is important advice because failure to understand it can ruin people. You have to learn to accept change. Outside of death, change is the most fundamental aspect of life. Everything changes. Entropy means it must. You cannot achieve any kind of mental well-being without first accepting change. Story 26. Do not sit down after work if you want to do more activities. Movement increases dopamine, which builds on itself, and dopamine is converted to norepinephrine. Therefore, continuing to stand and walk after you arrive home from work will trigger norepinephrine activity. Also, practice habit stacking. Story 27. When checking in at the airport, be polite to the check-in agent. They have significant influence over the seat you receive, and you might benefit from their assistance. Story 28. If you always tell the truth, you do not have a second story to remember. If someone asks you a question about something that happened, you can be 100% confident about what you have always said. Story 29. I use a whiskey tumbler or another wide-open glass to press into a peanut butter and jelly sandwich for my toddler to quickly make Uncrustables for an easy, no-mess lunch. The dogs get a free snack with the crust. It is a win for everyone and no waste. Story 30. When using a cast iron pan, I always place a piece of aluminum foil loosely over it to stop grease splatter. After I am done, I use the same piece of aluminum foil to clean it, and then place the pan into the oven to dry completely. Story 31. Pay your bills when they arrive. Do not wait until the electric bill is due. It does not save you any money up front, but if you develop the habit, it provides a cushion of a couple of weeks in case something unexpected happens. When your car battery dies or another expense occurs, you do not have to delay paying the electric or phone bill, and you avoid spending more on late fees. Story 32. I get restless legs at night. I read a scientific journal about tying a tube sock around your foot. It works like a charm. Story 33. Immediately making your bed after waking up sounds small, but it gives you a sense of accomplishment that sets the tone for the rest of the day. Story 34. Electrical tape works in tape dispensers if the roll fits. It is much easier to handle electrical tape this way when needed. Story 35. If you ever ask yourself, should I drink less alcohol? You drink too much. Stop drinking immediately for 30 days. If you do not make it, get help by talking to your doctor, a friend, or your partner. If only the thought of stopping for 30 days gives you anxiety, get help. If you think, I could do it, but I do not want to, get help. Story 36. Thoroughly cleaning the interior and exterior of your car's windows will greatly increase your visibility. Not just a little, but significantly. Those super bright headlights are much less bothersome when you don't have your hot breath clinging to your windshield. Story 37. If you hate buying water like me and didn't bring any or a reusable bottle, go to the nearest Dunkin', Starbucks, Wawa, Auntie Anne's, etc., and ask for a cup of ice. Then find a fountain or just let the ice melt. Story 38. You can only make one positive change or habit at a time, and you have to let it become established for about 6 months, in my experience, before it becomes an old habit and you can take on something new. Story 39. Just take it with you in relation to dishes. I used to be so bad about putting dishes in the sink, but I started taking a dish lying around in my room before going to the kitchen, and it helped a lot. I feel like this could be applied in other ways too. Story 40. In my country, we have a driving license that needs to be renewed every 5 years. After you renew your driving license, immediately create a reminder on your calendar 5 years ahead. This has helped me many times. Story 41. When looking at recipes online, click the print link. This removes the unnecessary backstory and random musings. You can also save the recipe as a portable document format file to your computer or even just the link to the printable version. Story 42. Cut out toxic people. Even if someone gives you an initial impression that makes you a bit uncomfortable, but you can't put your finger on it, it doesn't matter. Don't try to keep such people in your life. Trust your gut instinct. If someone gives you bad vibes on the first day, chances are high that it will turn out badly in the long run. Keep your circle tight. Surround yourself with good people only. Story 43. Don't put it down. Put it away. When you are finished with something, put it away immediately. Finished reading a book, put it away. Finished drinking coffee, put the cup away, not down. Story 44. Something I learned recently and discovered myself is how well this method works. If you want to keep your windshield from icing up when it is snowing and close to 0 degrees Celsius, switch the air conditioning to blow hot air down on your feet and nowhere else. If the windshield is warm from the air conditioning, the snow hitting the windshield melts and then quickly freezes again onto the wipers and windshield. However, if the windshield is cooler, the snow landing on it never melts, and the wipers can simply wipe it off. It is not always 100% effective, but I have found it works surprisingly well the times I have tried it. Story 45. The trick to going to the gym regularly is to force yourself to go and spend at least 5 minutes there every time. It does not have to be 5 minutes of working out, and you can stay longer if you want, but it does wonders for forming the habit. Going to the gym becomes something you do without having to think about it. Story 46. I have a hard time taking care of myself, but it is very easy for me to care for others. So I have made future me into a separate person. If I do the dishes now, future me does not have to deal with it, and it works really well. Story 47. Whenever a can is rattling in the cup holder, I just give it a little squeeze to dent it, and then there is silence. Story 48. Every night for 4 months, I had 1 can of Chef Boyardee for dinner, nothing else. I lost 30 pounds. Not to mention, I probably saved a bunch of money. Story 49. If you only cook for 1 to 2 people, buy one of those sleeves of frozen hamburger meat. I get mine at Costco, but Walmart offers something similar. It is just pre-portioned ground beef, and the disc shape means it thaws out very quickly. The Costco ones are 1/3 pound, which is plenty for most of my weeknight recipes. Story 50. Place a wooden spoon over a boiling pot to prevent it from overflowing. It breaks the surface tension and stops the bubbles. Story 51. If you are pulled over for speeding and cannot provide your insurance, the police officer will likely issue a ticket for lack of insurance. You can provide proof of insurance at a later date to have the ticket dismissed. Story 52. Anything I need for the day, such as keys, wallet, and phone, I put on a small end table and place the table in front of the door. I cannot open the door without moving the table, so I am unlikely to forget those items when I am actively moving it. Story 53. Put your phone in a Ziploc bag when cooking or baking. I can follow recipe videos and scroll through ingredients without getting my screen messy with flour or sauce. Plus, the touchscreen still works perfectly through the plastic. Story 54. Rule of thumb to live stress-free is to choose what you worry about. Ask yourself this question. Should I spend some of my energy and brain activity on this? If the answer is yes, then do something about it in moderation. If the answer is no, let it go and don't spend a second on it. This has helped me live less anxiously and be a little stress-free, even though the world is on fire. Story 55. Realize, especially in public settings, far fewer people are looking at and judging you than you think. It is freeing. Story 56. Turn on grayscale mode on your phone. It instantly becomes as boring as a school textbook. Scrolling is not fun anymore, and your brain goes, all right, guess I will live real life then. Story 57. Not caring about everyone. Better alone than false friends. Better alone than fake girlfriends. Do what you like. Story 58. Pomodoro technique involves working for 30 minutes followed by a 5-minute break. Using this method helps you become more productive. Story 59. People trust you more when you repeat their name once in conversation and subtly mirror their body language. This technique works exceptionally well in interviews and arguments. Story 60. Just go to bed at the same time and wake up at the same time every day. Yes, even on the weekend. You will sleep like a baby, and your day will become much more productive. I know it sounds obvious, but not everybody remembers to do this. Story 61. If you get overwhelmed with housework or messes and are easily distracted, do it in a dark room if possible. I always load the dishwasher and clean the counters with the lights off. I had no idea it was a coping skill until my husband pointed out how strange he thought it was. Story 62. Do not engage in relationships with unstable individuals. Never take advice from people you do not respect. If you vote for Donald Trump, you are unwise. Buy the best car tires you can afford. Story 63. Put lemons in your garbage disposal for a pleasant scent. Use ice cubes in the garbage disposal to help keep the blades sharp. Story 64. At all points in your life, think of something or a task to do that will make you happy. If there is nothing to do that you can think of, then you are at peace with life at the moment. Story 65. Greet people with enthusiasm. Smile and say it is good to see you. This sets the tone for the entire encounter and sometimes for a whole relationship. It was life-changing for an introvert like me. Story 66. Put your phone across the room when you sleep. This forces you to get up when the alarm goes off and subtly improves your entire morning. Story 67. One of my favorite things to do on vacation is to try local cuisine, but my budget does not allow me to eat out for all 3 meals. I splurge on 1 meal per day, breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and eat food I packed with me for the other 2 meals. I always book a hotel with at least a small refrigerator. This way, I do not feel like I am missing out because I get to eat a fancy meal every day, then just have to eat the food I brought to make up for it. It ends up being very reasonable because I can justify spending $30 to $40 per day on vacation and eat really well. Story 68. When you are somewhere new and choosing a restaurant, pick the busy one. It is not the other people's first time. I hate waiting and would often go to the less busy places in the past and have second-rate meals. Story 69. In the mornings, my productivity is high, but it slows down in the afternoon and dips even more by mid-afternoon. However, it picks up again in the evening. If you want a boost, drink more water and walk more. It really helps improve productivity, in my opinion. Story 70. For many subscriptions, if you try to cancel, they will offer you a significantly discounted rate for 1 to 3 months in an effort to retain your business. Story 71. Wake up and, if possible, go to bed at the same time every day. If you are the kind of person who works best on a routine, and likely you are, not getting enough sleep is still better than waking up an hour late. Story 72. If you need to get some much-needed housework done or complete small tasks around your home and you cannot seem to get motivated, simply put your shoes on. You are much more likely to start and finish a task or goal at home when you have your shoes on. I personally heard this about 3 years ago, and it is probably the most effective life hack so far in my opinion. It works. Story 73. Think of the action, not the mood. I do not know why this changed something in me, but I started just getting on with things instead of thinking about how bad it was that I was doing them. Story 74. Wet your utensil and your bowl with water before mixing cream cheese to prevent it from sticking to both. Story 75. If you get muscle cramps, sip milk of magnesia. When I feel one coming on, before it hits, I sip a little bit, wait a while, and sip more. I keep it by my bed and in the car. This has literally saved my world. I like the cherry flavor over the mint flavor. Story 76. 1. Prioritize time over money. I work as a high school teacher and have traveled extensively during my career without needing to save leave. Shopping online for groceries helps you save more because you avoid impulse buys and it saves a lot of time. If you want to start running, try the Couch to 5K app. It helped me improve from struggling with 1 kilometer to running over 10 kilometers now. Story 77. If you are having trouble sleeping, try tensing and relaxing each muscle group in your body, starting from your toes and working up to your face. Story 78. This is a twofer. Under-promise, over-deliver. If I think a job will take a week to complete, I quote 3 weeks. If I finish in 2 weeks, the client is thrilled, and I avoid the awkward conversation of needing more time and money than I originally calculated. This one is new to me. When you get hiccups, tell yourself hiccups aren't real or some variation. It has worked about 80% of the time for me. Okay, a threefer. Say no. If you are asked to do something that you are not responsible for or required to do and you don't want to do it, say no. As a people-pleasing doormat, I was shocked by how little impact my saying no had on the relationships with the people making the requests. It's also a good way to weed out people who only see you as someone they can get something out of. Story 79. Live it fast, live it slow. Live it healthy. Live it sloppily, live it rich, live it poor. It doesn't matter. You will end up dust in the wind eventually, so just be sure to live it. Story 80. Whenever you use tape of any kind, fold the tip over when done so you do not have to struggle with it the next time you use it. Story 81. Do not let excess money sit in a checking account. Invest it. At a minimum, put it in a savings account. Story 82. Do things your parents encouraged you to do as a child. Go to bed early, avoid eating junk food, and play outside. Story 83. 4 cutting lots of cherry tomatoes or grapes. Lay them on a chopping board and put your hand on them. Then cut horizontally through them all with a sharp knife. If you are unsure, you can put a plate over them instead of your hand. It is amazing how quick and easy this is. Story 84. Using your phone's camera to zoom in on small text is a total game changer when reading labels or manuals. Story 85. Drink milk if you eat something spicy. If you want to influence someone, talk about how your suggestion benefits them. This helps in interviews. People love to talk about themselves, but few love to listen. Occasionally check your coworkers' Google calendars. Most employees tend to keep their calendars public so you can figure out with whom and on what they are spending their time. You can gather useful information that way. Look at the top and bottom shelves when at the grocery store to find better prices. Also, buy the store brand of a product. Story 86. Put your phone in another room and open only the current working tab when you really need to focus. This change improved my productivity. Story 87. If it takes 2 minutes or less, just knock it out. There is no point in putting it off. Set a timer for 5 minutes and do a quick cleanup too. Feels good and makes life less chaotic. Story 88. I have 2 points. Assuming positive intent. I am working on my cynicism and have found that if I take a breath and assume the intentions of the other party are positive, things de-escalate quickly. Show up. I am also working on being a better friend. If someone invites me somewhere, I make it a point to show up, even for just a few moments. Story 89. Need reading classes? Go to any diner and say you think you left your glasses there. They will bring out a box of glasses to choose from. As an older person myself, I have left my reading glasses at diners in the past. When I asked if they had found them, I soon realized how common it is for others to do the same. Story 90. I'm not even a fan of The Office, but I saw a meme of Dwight saying, "One crisis at a time." It totally changed my perspective when a bunch of things are happening at once. I've heard people say, one thing at a time, all the time, but the fact that the word crisis was substituted is what made it different for me. Story 91. Ask. There are many ways to save money and get things you want or need that may not be offered. You need to learn to ask. Always ask. Story 92. Learned the fundamentals of natural language processing and used it on myself to change my thoughts for the better. Life became amazing. Story 93. Move it once. Put it away. Everything has a home. When moving, set up 3 boxes. Keep, toss, donate. Close, tape, and identify with marker or stickers. Get a new box. Rinse and repeat. Story 94. Pick it up. It will turn up. Key to it, I can't find it. Kids keep picking up. It will definitely turn up. Story 95. Learning to stop after saying no. You are not obligated to make yourself uncomfortable to please others. Story 96. Routine is life. I was talking to my therapist about how my Wellbutrin actually makes me sleepy. At some point, he suggested I take the attention deficit hyperactivity disorder test. I scored very poorly. I literally have the type of attention deficit hyperactivity disorder where I have to be doing something all the time. I can't sit still. I go on walks, clean the house, and am always doing something. You wouldn't be able to tell I had attention deficit hyperactivity disorder because my house is always in order, and I am always on time. I wake up 1 hour before I have to leave the house to give myself time to be distracted and still leave on time. I have a very good routine to the point where I just do things. My psychiatrist said I probably learned throughout my life as a 37-year-old female to manage my attention deficit hyperactivity disorder in a good way and built good coping mechanisms, hence not even knowing I had it. Honestly, it has been nice being on Vyvanse and being able to just sit and watch television now without feeling the need to get up and do something. I don't fidget as much anymore, and I feel calm. It's crazy because the first day I was prescribed 20 milligrams of Vyvanse, I felt so calm I actually went to sleep. Yes, routine and the 5-minute rule really go a long way. Story 97. If you whisper to a screaming toddler, they will often quiet down to hear what you have to say, especially if you sprinkle in some barely audible words like ice cream, bluey, or playground. Story 98. Be your own best advocate. Your career advancement is nobody else's responsibility. Talk openly to your supervisor about your value and supporting evidence. They want you to succeed in the role and be happy enough to stay. Explain what you believe you should earn and why you are worth it so they can support your case. Do not expect them to do the work for you. Story 99. Do not ever do anything to anyone for any reason, no matter what, no matter where, who you are with, where you are going, or where you have been. Ever. For any reason whatsoever. Story 100. Spoons are very useful. A warm or semi-hot spoon will almost immediately stop the itching from a mosquito bite. The heat damages and neutralizes the proteins in mosquito saliva that cause the itch. It also desensitizes nerves that transmit the sensation. This is the same reason people get immense relief from bites with a hot shower. Do you suffer from plantar fasciitis? You can also use a spoon along with a lubricant like lotion to gently scrape the middle and around the instep of the bottom of your foot. Most people experience immediate improvement of pain and tightness associated with the condition. This type of treatment is often referred to as the Graston technique. Story 101. Getting 8 hours of sleep a night improves productivity. There is a significant difference between 6 and 8 hours that adds up over time. Story 102. Buying groceries on Instacart has been a game changer for my diet. Yes, it is more expensive, but after I consider how much extra food I am not purchasing at the store, the price difference does not bother me. I no longer have the ability to roam the store and pick up extra food and snacks I do not need. Story 103. Stop watching the news and instead read the news from sites that are not politically aligned. You will be amazed at how many things are actually trivial yet are expounded upon excessively. Story 104. Always carry a book with you and make time to stop and read throughout the day. If you pass an empty park bench and are not in a massive hurry, stop and read a couple of pages before continuing. If you are looking at your phone while waiting, put it away and take out your book instead. This feels much better for the nervous system than the dopamine-driven screen addiction. Story 105. The easiest way to break an egg is to drop it on the counter. The shell will break, but the membrane inside the egg will keep everything together and prevent a mess. Story 106. Alarm clock across the room. If your phone is your alarm, this is especially effective as it forces you to put your phone away before going to bed. I personally use a wireless charging stand that folds for travel and holds my phone, watch, and headphones all in one place. Story 107. Realizing that sometimes you may be the problem. It is always easy to blame others, but sometimes we make mistakes. Humility goes a long way. Story 108. Memorizing Bible scriptures. As a result, I am not depressed. I do not drink alcohol. I am not lonely. I broke my porn addiction. I do not masturbate. No premarital sex. I have a clean heart. I have a clean mind. I do not worry. I do not live for validation. I do not do drugs. I am trustworthy. I do not cheat. I am faithful. All because I love God by reading my Bible. I would say that's a good life hack. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.